David from HopeLinx in Toledo, Ohio. David, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm excited, and shout out to The Gather for letting us film in their location. So thank you to Casey. And so when you were in the recovery house yourself, what are some small things you did to keep your hope alive that you were going to get better?
Well, I think one of the most important things was not isolating and trying to surround myself with people that were on the right path. I feel like at times it's easier to gravitate towards people that may not be doing the right thing. And it's easy to get sucked into that, the negativity, the bad comments or whatever it might be. So for me, it was gravitating towards the positive people that were doing the right thing, and then branching out outside of the recovery house and going to 12-step meetings, getting a sponsor, getting professional help, seeking therapy, all of those tools that were provided there, and then taking it upon myself to find outside help. Um, so yeah, that was most beneficial for me.
And in your life, did you struggle with asking for help early on?
Absolutely, absolutely. For one, I didn't know that I had a problem at first. I wasn't aware of it. So if I didn't know I had a problem, I couldn't ask for help.
Yeah.
So it didn't come into realization until my family kind of did the whole tough love thing, and they moved me to a different city.
Wow.
And that was very, very powerful in terms of like, wow, they don't want to be there for me anymore. And that wasn't the case. Looking back at it now, it was more of, we have to separate you from us because we don't want to see and witness your demise. But inevitably, that worked for me for the simple fact that it woke me up and made me realize that I did have a problem. Like, it was absolutely apparent. I'm moved to a different city, ended up homeless, and I can remember specifically one night, um, I just had this feeling of like defeat. Like I was defeated. Like I couldn't win. I lost. And it was at that point when I had realized, like, okay, I need help. And believe it or not, I actually called the person that dropped me off in this city, which was my mother. And I said, hey, I need help. I don't know what to do. She said, I'll be there in the morning. She was there in the morning and she dropped me off here in Toledo
Wow.
at a rehabilitation center that saved my life. So, yeah.
So it sounds like your mom was just waiting for you to come to the realization yourself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, dude.
And
Yeah.
is there anything that you have not said to your mom that you would like to say to her now?
I mean, she knows. She knows. I was actually just talking to her before I came in here. She sees everything that I'm doing now. She just always has been on my side, and now more than ever, she's just more supportive. She's encouraging, um, and yeah, like she's always been there, and I'm grateful for that. Super, super grateful.
And it sounded like having her there to believe in you and knowing that you could call her at any point kind of, it seems like kept things alive for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, it did.
And
Definitely did.
she's obviously proud of you for doing that
Yeah.
as well, for not only asking for help but then taking over the past 10 years to grow and into who you became today.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did this personal journey and this struggle that you went through shape the way that you now build or you built HopeLinx?
So, being in recovery, going into recovery houses as a resident, seeing that side of things, and then completing the program, and then for some reason I felt like instinctively that I wanted to help people in that were going through the same thing. So I wanted to get into the field. I wanted to help people. So um, I put in some applications. I got hired at a recovery house, and it was and is still to this day one of the most like purpose driven positions that I've ever held, just for the simple fact that like I get paid to help people, right? And that to me was like, that doesn't even make sense. It didn't even feel like work. Um, but within being in the recovery house and seeing how the operations were running, there was a lot of problems. There was lack of communication, lack of documentation, and lack of organization. And there was no tools given other than pieces of paper, Excel spreadsheets, which one person would have, and then you would share it to another person, but that person would end up deleting things, or just a whole bunch of things would happen and just completely make the whole day or week a mess. So it was at that point when I realized, like, maybe I can do something here to make things work easier. Just for the simple fact that, like, I tended to spend a lot more time doing like administrative work, making copies, filing paperwork, checking the bedboard, just like doing a whole bunch of things. And I noticed that like I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to actually spend with the residents, and being able to give back and to help them in whichever way possible. Um, Now, with that being said, I had a back history with web design, so, and that's another, passion of mine, being able to design websites for people and to bring their vision into reality and materialize it for them. Um, and I think it was at that point when I realized, like, hey, I see the problem, I have the expertise, let me just mesh it together and see what I can do. And that was the beginning of it. And it took quite some time for me to actually develop the platform. Um, and it was a lot of, it was like, I can explain it like pure dedication. Like I still had to wake up in the morning, go to my normal job, having a kid and then having another kid. So I have two daughters, I'm married. So like you just have like this full life of doing everything and trying to balance everything all at once. But I knew that I was doing it for a purpose and reason, and I seen the vision, and the mission was clear. It was to provide a tool to recovery houses for them to utilize, for them to stay organized, and to cut down administrative work and being able to spend more time with their residents to actually helping them. So that's kind of like how that came about.
That's the one thing that really stuck out to me during your story is the fact that you built this so the residents could get more care.
Yeah,
You built this so the residents can get more help and get better faster.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think too, um, so it's built for that reason and that purpose, but it also allows the organization itself to be more organized, to have everything all in one place. So when it comes to like maybe an audit, or you need to check logs on your urine screens or breathalyzers or whatever it might be, you're able to just simply log in and then check on that information instead of trying to track down a piece of paper in a filing cabinet that was built in 1972. Like we got to get with the times, right? Um, so yeah, it's all in one place. It's all there. So there's more than just one benefit from it. Yeah.
What what would you say on the business side of things is the greatest benefit for HopeLinx?
On the business end of things,
Yes.
as in for like the organization.
Yes.
So I think coming from, well, here's a piece of like if I was able to use it in a recovery house and how it would benefit my organization. So for one, it's employee management, right? So you'll be able to create accounts for your employees to track on things that they're doing within their shift or whatever they're doing for that week. You'll be able to see exactly what they've been doing. You'll be able to assign them to specific tasks for them to do. There's a schedule in there, so you can essentially create your own employee schedule and see exactly who is scheduled on what day at which property. And then that kind of ties into the property management aspect of it. So if your organization has um, 15 properties, then you'll be able to add all of those properties in there, see it at a glance, all on the dashboard, um, and be able to see how many residents are in each property. So it's a visual thing, being able to see everything at a glance on the dashboard, and to stay organized. And then, of course, the resident management. So you get to add all of your residents in there. Um, and actually, one of the new features that just came out not long ago is vehicle management. So a lot of organizations have their own vans. So now you'll be able to add your own vehicles. You'll be able to track the mileage, and input like any documents that you may need to input in there. Um, so I say all that to say this: save time and save money. That's what it's about. Saving money. So understanding that with software comes price, right? And that's just what it is. I can't give it out for free. But the price point that this sits at is more than affordable to any organization. $249 a month. That to me is more than affordable. Now, there are other platforms out there that charge per property, per bed, per resident. And if you're a large organization, you're talking thousands of dollars a month that you're going to be spending on a piece of software. So I wanted to make this affordable not only to the smaller organizations, but to the bigger organizations. So it doesn't break their bank when it comes to shedding out money for a piece of software. Um, so yeah, time and money.
I love it. And I love how it's backed by passion, personal experiences, personal struggles.
Yeah,
Of this is not only something I made just to make money, this is something that would have maybe helped me get better quicker.
yeah, possibly,
Yeah.
possibly.
So I truly think that that's what stands out the most is it's backed by actual passion.
Yeah.
And with you being an entrepreneur and then with you overcoming a drug addiction, how did the skill of overcoming struggles, being a drug addict, transfer over to the struggle of entrepreneurship?
To be honest, it ain't nothing compared to what I went through and been through. Not to downplay the struggles of being an entrepreneur and growing a business, because it is stressful. There are challenges. And to me, it's to the point now to where my time is the most valuable thing. Um, like I said, I have a family. I have two young daughters. I have a wife. So, what does that look like? How much time should I spend on growing this business in comparison to spending time with them? You know, they're young, they're only a kid once, right? So, that's one of the most difficult, challenging things that I've experienced because there are times where I might have to do something business related. I just can't avoid it. And I might have to not be there for, a day or two or whatever that might look like. But also understanding that it's not going to be for a long term awaycation or whatever, however you would word it. So being able to make it a point to where I will spend time with them, whether it's knocking off a weekend of the business side of things and being able to take them to the park, to the movies, whatever it might be. Like that's just what I'm going to do. And then, with my wife, same thing. She's busy, she works, she has friends, she has family, so she's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. Um, so we have to collaborate. We have to communicate with each other and know when, like, okay, it's time for date night. Like, we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to get out.
yes.
We have to drop the kids off at my mom's house or her mom's house and go out and do something. We just went out to a wedding the other weekend, and that was a really, really well deserved and amazing time. I will say that, just to have the kids away, just me and her. Yeah, like I live for those moments. I really do.
What does being a good father and a husband mean to you?
Everything, everything, man. Just like in comparison to what life was to what it is now. Um, like I like for one, when I first got into recovery, I didn't know what it meant to be uh, a good person. I didn't know I was a good person because I had done so many bad things in my past. So it took people telling me that I was a good person for me to realize that I was a good person that just made bad choices. And then essentially what it was is becoming a good husband was seeing and being a good husband was me trying to surround myself with people that were also being good husbands, that were also being good fathers. I tried to weed out the people that were not doing good things. They may be sober, they may be clean, but they're not necessarily being moral, and I'll still, chat it up with those people and associate with them. But um, I know the people that are doing right and the things that they're doing are good, and I want to surround myself with those people. Kind of like how it was back when I was
Yes.
in recovery house. Like I want to surround myself with the good types of people. Now, granted, nobody's perfect, so people make mistakes. But when I see somebody that makes a mistake and owns it, and they know that they did wrong, but they try to amend that wrong promptly, those are the people that I look up to, because I make mistakes too.
Yes.
And I try to make amends as soon as possible and learn from that experience. Um, and I try to take that throughout not just like my personal life, but also my business life as well. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect.
And when you were in the recovery house and people were starting to tell you, David, you are a good person, how long did it take for you to forgive yourself for those bad actions that you did take in the past?
So that's a really good question.
Thank you.
That is a multifaceted answer for the simple fact that there were some things that were easier to forgive myself for than others. Um, and I think what it came down to was once I started forgiving myself for the smaller things, getting more in tune with my spirituality and learning about my creator, and really understanding that, like, it wasn't necessarily me that did those things, it was something else within myself. So like when you are intoxicated, you're drinking alcohol, spirits, or whatever it might be, it's almost like you're in a possessive state. It's not really yourself. You're more apt to making bad decisions. And that's like that with other drugs of like heroin or crack or whatever it might be. Um, so that wasn't me. And once I started realizing that aspect of it, it was easier to come to terms with being able to forgive myself. Um, Now, just because I've forgiven myself doesn't mean I've forgotten, So, um, and that's kind of where like the professional help came into play, like seeking a professional therapist and being able to work through certain things in my life that happened to me and being able to address those issues with a licensed professional, being able to work through them um, was most beneficial for me. Absolutely. I recommend therapy to anybody, really, even if you don't have any problems. If you're an entrepreneur or whatever, sometimes I talk to my therapist about business.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff going on, so I need some feedback here.
Was learning to feel your feelings something that you went through?
Yeah, yeah. When I was drinking and drugging, the whole idea of it was not to feel. So when I got sober, then I was like, oh, hold on a second, what's going on here? I didn't know what it was, and it's really raw in the very beginning, very, very raw. So you have um, anger, and uh, you're either angry or happy. Like that was it. Um, and I kind of suppress my anger into where it turns into depression, right? So I was either depressed or I was really happy. And then as time went on, and I started working through the 12 steps and really understanding who I was and what I was and who my creator had intended me to be, and I started getting professional help, it took time for me to really identify other emotions that I didn't even know what they were, but I was feeling, you know. And still to this day, like I'm still learning. There's still some emotions and feelings that I feel that I'm like, hold on a second, what's that? But I have, um, my wife, she's more apt to like knowing what these feelings are. So when I
Yeah,
explain to her what this is or what am I, she's like, oh, that's that. And I'm like, oh, huh, okay, good to know. So yeah,
I love it.
it's good to have people that know more than you.
Yeah, yes, it is 100%.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, David.
Okay.
When you finally did get 100% clean, how did that make you feel?
Um, so it was scary in the beginning because it was essentially my best friend. I had known something that I could take that would make me feel or not feel. It would make me feel more in control of my life. And when I let that go, there was a time where it was almost like a grieving stage of knowing that I couldn't live life continuing using or drinking. And it got to a point where I felt like it was on the other side too. Like I couldn't continue life if I was sober and clean. And I think it was at that moment when I realized, yeah, like I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do this, step in 100% and give it my all. Um, and then I think as time passed, it's easier to forget about your past. Um, and there has been times where, um, it did get hard. It did get really hard. But being able to stay connected with whatever support I have, being able to continue with seeing a therapist, being able to still communicate with what's going on within myself. That's kind of like, I don't know, like kind of like the trick to staying sober, And I know like the grand overall feeling is relief. It's relief that I don't have to live that way anymore. I can provide for my family. I can be a good husband. I can be a good father. I can be a good son, and I can show up at my mom's house or my dad's house unannounced, and they're not going to turn me away. They're not going to drive me to another city and drop me off,
Yeah,
you know. So it was all worth it, man, and it's still worth it. And yeah, if anybody is struggling with trying to get sober or they got sober and they relapsed, just do not give up. Like, do not give up. Keep trying. Um, it's one of those things that like you have to want this. Your family can't make you do it. You have to really want it. And once you get to that point, all it is just raising your hand and asking for help. That's all it is.
love it. David, those are the questions I have for you. how can people find you, and what is one thing you want to leave people with?
Okay, so yeah, people can find me on Facebook. Um, you can go to my website, hopelinx.com. So that's hope, HopeLinx.com. There you'll be able to see exactly what HopeLinx is, what it does. And then one thing I want to leave, I guess, the world with is be kind, love, and tolerance.
Love it. Well, David.